Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining today's webinar on e-container clearance by food terminals and e-delivery order by shipping line. Before we begin, let me kindly request all of you to keep your microphones on mute and your cameras off as well. This will ensure that we are able to carry out this webinar without any disturbance. So today's webinar is of course organized by the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce together with the import section of the chamber, and the session is brought to you by our sponsor Citibank. And if you do have any questions during this session, please use the chat option that's available on your screen, to which the moderator will respond during the Q&A session. And also we would like to mention that the chamber has developed a web page to update the private sector on important trade information and updates related to COVID-19. Users can simply go to chamber.lk to reviews. The trade can raise any questions to which a dedicated person from the chamber staff will try to assist you with. So let me once again request all of you to keep your microphones and cameras off, and from the chamber, let me thank the speakers and the moderator for accepting our invitation as well. Thank you very much, and over to you, Dinesh.
Thank you, Amanda. I can see some videos on. The ground rules will be once the program starts, the speakers switch on their videos, and then they will go on talking until such time all the others can keep their videos off and audios off. Otherwise, there will be a disturbance during the program, especially the line. Hope you all can hear me well. Good morning to all. Mr. Mohammed Nahi, can you switch off your video, please?
Sorry?
Can you switch off your video, please? Your video is on.
No.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to all participants for joining our webinar on e-delivery and e-terminal release. We have a great line of speakers to talk about this subject today. They have wealth of experience and knowledge in their respective areas. So accordingly, we'll have the Chairman SLPA delivering us the keynote address. Then Mr. Upali Izoiza, National Managing Director SLPA. Then Mr. Ted Muttaya, Chief Commercial Officer from SAGT, South Asian Gateway. Then Mrs. Catriona Jayasundara, General Manager, Commercial and Marketing, CICT, Colombo International Container Terminal. Mr. Delano Dias, Chairman, Import Section, Ceylon Chamber of Commerce. Mrs. Anoma Ranasinghe from CASA, Association of Steam Agents. Mr. Wes Samsudin, General Secretary, Association of Clearing and Forwarding Agents. So we have a wealthy panel who will be able to explain and answer the participants' questions. Any clarifications we can go on, and like at the outset said, use the chat box. And to start the program, firstly, I would like to invite the General Retired R.M. Dayaratnayaka, Chairman, Sri Lanka Ports Authority, to deliver the keynote address. Mr. Chairman, you are a person with great wisdom. And recognizing your job, the challenge is all about protecting and developing our country's commercial heart. I would say it's the port. We would like to hear from you how you first faced the pandemic, and then the situation, how you handle the current situation and future plans. Over to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Dinesh. Thank you for the introduction, and Um, nice words. I consider this is a great opportunity this morning to be among you, to give opening remarks. And you're saying keynote address. I thought it's just an opening remark, Dinesh, at this very important webinar organized by the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce of Dinesh, you and your team. At the outset, let me take this opportunity to thank and appreciate the organizers of this webinar for taking the initiative at this crucial and most appropriate moment, and also on behalf of the Minister, the Secretary, and the staff of Ministry of Ports and Shipping, and Chairman and Managing Director and the rest of the staff of Sri Lanka Ports Authority, let me congratulate and thank you for taking the initiative once again. Sri Lanka being an island nation, there are only 2 ports that connect people and cargo internationally. Without people movement of this country, like what we are experiencing today, we can only live and sustain if seaports are functioning. On the other side, since we are not a self-sufficient country, we have to depend on imports and exports. There we know very well more imports and less exports in our country. In regard to what I just mentioned above, there is an imbalance. 99.7% of the total tonnage of this island, imports and exports, are handled in seaports. Without seaports functioning, living in this beautiful island will be a huge challenge in today's context. That is why seaport is known as heart of the nation. This heart should obviously work continuously 24/7 and 365 days. Our focus, as you all know, to run Colombo Port as a mega transshipment hub. In that regard, we are the 22nd port in the world ranking and 13th best container connected port in the world. According to last year's statistics, out of Colombo volume, 82% of transshipment and domestic local container throughput is only 18%. Taking the Sri Lanka's strategic location into consideration, and we being the gateway to Asia, and over and above that, Sri Lanka being the last port in Asia for ships taking on a challenging long westbound voyage. Dear ladies and gentlemen, transforming and exploiting above mentioned and plus comparative advantage Sri Lanka naturally has into a competitive advantage should be the center of focus in all our discussions and planning. Dear friends, if you really think the COVID-19 situation has given us more new opportunities to exploit for the best interest of Sri Lanka, the region, and the rest of the world. Therefore, efficient management of all our human and required resources by introducing world best practices become paramount important. Therefore, the topic in discussion today becomes very relevant and important. With regard to the topic today, Sri Lanka Ports Authority, together with all our terminal operators and shipping lines, have done somewhat justice to the business. In the recent past, Sri Lanka Ports Authority established document center in year 2000 at this canal yard outside the port to ease the process of all documentation work with regard to container clearance and provide facilities for all main stakeholders under one roof, which include all terminal operators, customs, and banks, etc. Sri Lanka Port Authority introduced e-export container receiving process in 2012 by web-based cargo management system to do electronic online payment through 4 banks, namely Bank of Ceylon, Sampath Bank, HNB, and Commercial Bank. And further, Sri Lanka Port Authority, JCT, partly introduced EFCL container clearance process in 2013 by web-based cargo management system to do e-payment. Currently, due to COVID-19, as Dinesh you mentioned, to ease the backlog of uncleared FCL container, Sri Lanka Port Authority took the lead with the Ministry of Ports and Shipping, Sri Lanka Custom, terminal operators, and all stakeholders to fast-track the delivery process. Shipping Line to introduce electronic delivery orders. It changed the current manual practices to operate online in keeping with health guidelines of social distancing directives issued by the Health Department of the government. To ease the ease to use electronic process ensures the digitalization of the clearance process, significantly improving efficiency and accuracy, facilitating trade. COVID-19 paved the way to fast-track e-clearance with all stakeholders in the supply chain to introduce global best practices in Sri Lanka. As a result, Sri Lanka Ports Authority went with full implementation of paperless e-FCL container clearance process by accepting e-delivery orders from shipping lines and e-manifest. Other 2 private terminals operators, SAGT and CICT2, implemented full paperless e-FCL container clearing process, including e-payment. In future, Sri Lanka Port Authority will take the lead to implement port community system so that the entire stakeholders will come under one platform, and that will improve Sri Lankan position in logistic performance indicators and ease of doing business ranking. And this is what, as an open remark, Dinesh, I had to come out. And I would appreciate once again, and during the time of this COVID situation and being stakeholders, since all are here listening today, I would like to appreciate and thank everyone for giving us the support to maintain the Sri Lankan standard. After COVID-19 situation, Sri Lanka today has got a superb trade mark, what we call we have our acceptance in the world has gone up as a country. Our brand name is gone up as a country. So we exploited this as a port, and we also got our workers together, everyone together, and started doing a good service. And as you all know, we also have, as a Sri Lanka, Colombo port has got a name in the world today. So this is what we have to exploit for the benefit of all of us, Dinesh. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, General. Thanks for those great words. And we will support you in all your efforts going forward. Actually, now post-COVID session is the one that we will be planning, and we will have to understand the new ways of working. So we will guarantee our support, and let's work together. Thank you very much, Chairman. Okay. Mr. Nalin Lianage, can you switch off your video, please? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay. Right. Now, we will be going to the next speaker according to the operation. So as all the listeners would know, when a consignee imports cargo, when the cargo comes into the country, the first step that they will be doing is the collection of documents from the banks. Then according to our structure here today, the next step would be they will be visiting the shipping lines to get their delivery order. Traditionally, the piece of paper which was called the delivery order. So I would like to invite next speaker as Mrs. Anoma Ranasinghe from the representing the shipping lines and now representing the Siloan Association of Shipping Agents. Anoma, can you come on screen, please? Others can mute. Others can please mute the audios and videos. You can switch off the videos. Only the speaker can be on screen. Thank you. Thank you, Anoma, coming on screen. I guess you can hear me. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope you can hear me too.
Yes. Line is clear. Okay. So Anoma, to start with, we would like to know why Lines waited for a situation like this to introduce e-initiatives, and would like to know whether the similar attempts were done before, and if it was done, whether there were some issues that came across and then blocked it. And at the same time, it's interesting to know what are the legal obligations now when the traditionally an importer will come and give you the handover, surrender the original bill of lading and then take the delivery orders. So now with this new initiative, how do you handle those legal parts? And currently, how many lines have adopted e-delivery order systems and how many more to go? Over to you, Anoma.
Well, thank you, Dinesh, for that. And good day to all. I hope I'm clear to everyone.
Yes.
At the outset, let me thank Ceylon Chamber for inviting CASA for this webinar. CASA is the voice of the shipping industry and has been working tirelessly to support and find solutions to many industry issues. So therefore, we feel that this session is a very timely session, especially for the shipping agents to receive some constructive feedback on the new initiative that we have adopted, that is moving away from the decade-old practice of issuing delivery orders manually and then moving to electronic issuance of delivery orders to be par with the global practice. Now, to answer the first part of your question, Dinesh, why shipping lines waited for this situation to introduce this new initiative? No, we have not been waiting for this situation. For the past many years, CASA as an association and Lines shipping agents individually have been having dialogues and discussions with customs and the respective terminals. Unfortunately, the progress was very slow and we were not able to get on to a mutual platform to get it going. Having said that, with the government new directives, right, so we have been able to fast track it, of course, with the support of the terminals and the authorities. And here we are now fully geared to issue delivery orders electronically. First, we started issuing electronic delivery orders for FCL shipments and now gradually move to LCL. And I am proud to say some shipping agents have even resorted to issuing electronic delivery orders for bulk shipments as well. So it's a total shift from the manual to electronic. And further, there are no queues seen or no gatherings at the counters of the shipping agents. So this, I feel, has been very successful. But let me tell you, that we would not be stopping at this. We would be revisiting our internal and external processes that we have adapted. You know, if you take for an example, the online payment procedures that we have adapted, uh, and simplify them as much as possible to ensure that our customers, or to assist our customers, ease of doing business. Now, so that is my answer for the first part of your question, Dinesh, because we have not been waiting for this situation, but we have been trying our level best, of course, with some challenges. Then there wasn't similar efforts done earlier. I'm not very clear about your question, so maybe I can put it this way. Yes, we had some similar efforts. If I bring in the cargo manifest, right? If we have been in the past for so many years, we have been submitting the cargo manifest manually, mind you, 13 sets, sometimes running into 500 pages, and to 13 points we had to report this manifest. Now, moving from this manual submission, we have moved forward and we have adopted the electronic submission of the cargo manifest as well. But sad to say that we as shipping agents have not been able to reach our target, that is zero submission, because due to some challenges. Anyway, discussions are ongoing to sort this out and move forward on this matter. So I hope I have tackled that part as well. And the third part of your question, the legal obligations, tackling the legal obligations under the contract of carriage surrounding the original bill of lading. So let me explain. Bill of lading is the document which supports the passing of the constructive possession of the goods from the seller to the buyer. So which is a very important document. So therefore, the agents have to be very cautious when handling this type of situation, and especially when surrendering the possession, the constructive possession of the goods without the production of the original bill of lading.
Anuma, we are losing you. Your words are not audible. Cannot hear you. No, we still cannot hear you. Your video is okay, but audio is...
Okay, is that okay
right
now?
Now okay, correct.
Yeah, from where should I start again? From where did I lose?
Last two lines, last three lines.
Okay, with regard to the legality of the bill of lading?
Okay, go ahead.
Right. So Dinesh's question was actually how the shipping agents are tackling the obligations under original bill of lading. So as I mentioned, original bill of lading or the bill of lading is a document which supports the passing of the constructive possession of the goods from the seller to the buyer. So because of this, shipping agents will have to be very, very cautious, right? When they are surrendering the constructive possession of the goods to a person or without production of the original bill of lading. So because of that, shipping agents, most of the shipping agents have adopted this procedure where any customer holding original bill of lading, or for that matter even a shipping guarantee, will have to call over at the counter to hand over the documents personally so that we are comfortable and we can establish the authenticity of the document as well as handle the legality of the document. So you would see it is only for the original bill of lading and the shipping guarantee that we require customer to hand over these documents personally. And apart from that, maybe a seaway bill or maybe a surrender bill of lading, we don't require the customer to call at our counters. So those things, along with the other documents, can be transferred to us online, maybe by email, and confirmation of the payments. And then therefore, thereafter, we would resort to issuing of electronic delivery orders. So I hope it's clear, because now we have been having little bit of challenges there. So let me explain when I come to the next point. Whether all shipping agents have adapted to issuing of EDO. Yes, I could confirm that most of the shipping agents who are members of CASA have resorted to issuance of EDO, but of course with challenges, little bit of challenges here and there. And we believe that the priority number one is the customer confidence. So we have come across customers who are not geared to accept delivery orders electronically, maybe due to their technical support, lack of technical support. We have come across customers who are not comfortable to make online payments. They always prefer to bring cash or checks to our counters. And then we also have certain requirements from the banks for us to confirm and certify that we have issued delivery orders electronically. And we also have from the motor division the request to issue manual delivery orders, because they have a process where they endorse on the manual delivery order, and I was made to understand that it has to be submitted to motor department, right? So we have challenges, this type of challenges, but anyway, we are confident that we will overcome all these challenges with a lot of discussions, of course, and move forward with this new initiative that we have adopted, issuing delivery orders electronically. So Dinesh, I hope I have answered your queries.
Yes, yes, yes. Technically, yeah. Technically, Anoma, yes, we understand. Initiatives like this will not be perfect within few weeks or within few months. There will be loose ends where from the private sector as well as from the lines point of view, there will be areas where we got to further improve, and certain challenges, like you mentioned, will have to be discussed and understood, and additional solutions will have to be provided for those kind of things. Right? Very good. Thank you very much for your experience. So technically, we would take, as at today, about at least 80 to 85% lines are issuing the electronic delivery orders, and out of their other functions, in a situation where shipping guarantee and original BL submission, wherever necessary, only is manual for the moment, correct?
Yes, your understanding is correct, because since, as I mentioned, there's legality involved, and we have to establish the authenticity of these documents as well, and therefore we require the customer to submit these documents at our counters, and that's it. But the delivery orders are issued electronically.
Okay, thank you, Anoma.
Yes. Online payments as well.
Yes, thank you, Anoma. Thank you very much for your clarifications and your focus on this particular initiative, and we will certainly support every effort taken from your side. Also, we will get a trade to work towards the success of this e-operation. Thank you very much, Anoma. We will come to you.
Yeah, yes, thank you. I'm happy to take any questions at the during the question and answer session.
Yes, thank you very much. Okay. Now we will move on with one of our good friends and a very responsible officer from the Sri Lanka Ports Authority, Mr. Upali Sosa. Can you come on video, please? Miss Soiza, can you come on video?
Yeah.
Okay. I can't see you yet. Are you on video? Because your slide is on.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So good morning to you. And then now,
Good morning.
Upali. Okay. Actually, we fully appreciate the initiatives taken by the terminals, and you especially, because SLPA has been having kind of a system where quite a lot of operational work was on a e-platform. So we know that you had a system, and then you did some changes as well with the COVID pandemic situation. So we would like to know from a terminal's point of view, what were the challenges that you faced when you did the changes, and how was the trade response? And then we need certainly we need further improvements. So we would like to hear from you. What are future plans also, and towards automation, overall the cargo clearance procedure from the terminal up to the number 7 gate, I would say. Over to you, Upali.
Thank you, Dinesh. First of all, my congratulations for everyone as a nation. I am sure that we have been very successful in overcoming the situation during the COVID-19 pandemic period. So now, when we talk about our present situation, it's very happy to say that though we had a backlog of 18,000 containers, at the very beginning, now today, as per our records, it's only 5,200 boxes in all three terminals. So it was a joint effort, I believe. So as our chairman clearly mentioned from the right beginning, so we had a very good team spirit. All the stakeholders got together and tried their level best to find solutions. All the time, we sometimes even we met daily. Then, of course, now we have a newly appointed committee. You also represent there. All the stakeholders are represented. So we always try to find solutions, maybe digital solutions, maybe, practical solutions. So this is how we have been able to, be the number one transshipment hub, not only the transshipment hub, logistics hub in South Asia. So we have proved that to the world at the moment. So let me talk about these payment scheme and also the FCL delivery process, which is implemented at the moment. So when we talk about the FCL delivery, we being the landlord, that was in 2013, we implemented cargo management system, giving the facility to make payments electronically. Though we wanted to, improve that, even to, minimize the human intervention, it took time. But with this COVID-19, it was an eye-opening for all of us. So the challenge what we had, at the beginning, you mentioned about what is the challenge for us at the moment. The challenge is to maintain this same service level while keeping social distance. That is the most important thing. And also to adhere to the health guidelines given by the health authorities. So now, as I mentioned, originally we had only the facility for electronic payment, but for the other documents, of course, all the time, wharf clerks had to report to our dock center. All three terminals, they have their own offices. They had to come and be in the queues. But especially under this COVID-19 situation, we had an issue with how we could accommodate all these requirements. When the curfew was lifted, so all of them came as a bunch, and we found a bit difficult to maintain the social distancing and the other health requirements. That is how we went for this electronic documentation flow. So now, of course, though it is called electronic documentation, it's still not 100% electronic, because what they do, they get the hard copies and scanned and email it to the respective, officers of the respective terminals. So now you can easily see the flow chart where we have clearly mentioned about, this is more or less the same with all three terminals. Now, the clearing agent, practically what they could do, they can go to the shipping line and collect the master delivery order, and also from the other multiple forwarders, they can collect the DOs and forward them by scanned copies to the respective terminal offices with other related documents like BL invoices, then CASTE copy, and the other related documents. So once we receive them, we process and give them the draft invoice. After confirmation, they can make their payments maybe online, if not to the counter. So after submitting all these by scanned copies, our stockkeepers, they process everything and give them the delivery, the order confirmed after receiving the passport delivery of customs. Now, still we find difficulty because sometimes the wharf clerks they do not send the required documents at once. So time to time we have to call them and get it. But I'm very sure we will be able to face this challenge, especially to minimize the human interaction. When we talk about human interaction, we wanted this long ago. Dinesh, you can remember we started this e-commerce and digitalization almost 15 years back. We are still struggling to implement national single window, which is the most required element in this entire process. It's true that we are at the 22nd place among the container handling ports in the world in terms of volume. Connectivity, we are at the 13th place. But when we talk about the logistics performance index, we are far below, as the World Bank reports. 2018, we were at the 116th place. Last year, maybe 94, if I'm not wrong. So now, this is the ideal time for us to go for that. So, in fact, we are going to have the next meeting, maybe 19th, on National Single Window. So, as you inquired early, what is going to be the permanent solution and the productive way of handling all these issues? That is the other electronic platforms. So now, as our chairman mentioned, we are in the process of implementing port community system, and also customs department. They are also in the process of eliminating the congestion through these verification centers. They are trying to find appropriate location to relocate the verification centers, and also still they have not implemented the scanning system. So all these come together to find a better solution for our smooth flow of imports delivery system in Sri Lanka. And again, we have gone for info upgrade at SLPA. With that, we are trying to introduce the fully fledged warehouse management system. At the moment, of course, I have seen some questions about the LCL electronic payment facility, though we implemented the warehouse management system at CFS1 and also BQ, we were in the process of implementing, but because of the backlog, you can remember we had a backlog of 1,800 containers at the very beginning. So now, of course, we are very happy to say that at the moment we have only 235 LCL boxes balanced. Today we have programmed 117, only 118 to be programmed. So definitely by next week we can ease everything. So when the N4 is implemented, we will have the warehouse management system in all the warehouse complex of SLPA, where we could give them 100% electronic payment facility for LCL cargo also. These are the arrangements so far by Port Authority. We should forget that, in fact, in this process, we had a marvelous support from Sri Lanka Customs. And we should forget that Sri Lanka Police, during the curfew period, they gave a full support, to get the curfew passes for our, maybe for transporters, maybe for consignees. So at last, what we have to see, this is a team effort. This is a very good example of Sri Lankans where they had a marvelous team spirit in handling pandemic situation. When we compare with the other world, how they have, been messed at the moment, so we Sri Lankans can be proud. Hope to give more, energy, give more solutions in future to overcome these problems. Thank you.
Great, Upali. Thank you very much. I can see questions pouring in, and there are many questions coming in, and we will take these up during the Q&A session. I think panel members can go through them, and there are some, looks like according to the questions that are coming in, I guess there are gaps in between where trade may have not read the proper notices that have come up, or the message that are in the notices are not really in implementation in certain stages, I guess. So I think going forward, we should be able to close many gaps, but of course we will take as much as possible during our during our Q&A session. Moving on, can I ask Mr. Ajit Fernando to keep your video off during the program? Can I request Mr. Ajit Fernando to keep the video off, please? Can I request Mr. Ajit Fernando? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, moving on. Now I would request Mrs. Catriona Jayasundara, General Manager Commercial and Marketing from CICT. Catriona, can you come on screen?
Yeah, hi Dinesh, I'm here.
Oh, hi. Great. I think you would have a patient hearing for the previous speakers, and then now we are coming gradually to the operational steps, and you being the deep draft port terminal, now how do you saw this quick initiative with a very short time? You all proposed this, and then what are the challenges you faced, and how do you see the smooth sailing of the new initiative and the benefits for you as well as for the trade from your point of view, please? Over to you.
Thanks a lot, Dinesh. First of all, I would like to thank the Chamber for organizing this forum and inviting CICT to the platform. I think it's a really good and appropriate initiative at this point in time. So I won't take much of your time. I think that my good friend, Mr. Upali, gave a very detailed explanation of the whole process. So there's very little I can say in terms of the process. It's very much similar to SLPA. And the only difference is that CICT has asked CHAs to register with an email address. The purpose of that was purely to make sure that safety and security. So let me get directly into your question, Dinesh. So yes, I think every dark cloud has a silver lining, and this is the silver lining for our trade. From this unfortunate pandemic, I think we have been forced to go into paperless. CICT has always been very focused on electronic, basically ease of doing business. we have looked at many ways to try and remove any complications and make it a more simpler and straightforward process. So if you look now, we actually, way before the pandemic even came in, we were already working on this EDO, and we were in the testing phase. So we were very lucky actually when this whole process came in and the requirement with no time for adjustment, we were already prepared because we were already in the testing phase of electronic DO. So for us, it was a smooth sailing to implement it. But if you look at the challenges, I think, Dinesh, that CICT faced, I think all three terminals commonly faced, it was the acceptance of the system. I think, hello? I'm sorry, the mic is on.
Hold on, Katyana. Can the participants mute their mics, please? Participants, please mute their mics. Participants, please mute your mics. Okay, go ahead, Katyana.
No worries. I think as people, we are creatures of habit. And the biggest challenge, Dinesh, we faced was that we found that people took time to accept the new process. The fact of not physically coming to a doc center and having to actually do everything online or electronically. That was the biggest challenge we faced. More than any, the process itself was easy to implement. And it was very easy. I mean, we had our own marketing team was out there. We spoke with the consignees at the doc center. We educated them. We actually asked them for suggestions, and we implemented for whatever suggestions they had. Likewise, from the trade, we have taken suggestions and implemented. But the biggest challenge, I feel, was actually the acceptance of the system. But we see a huge progress now. If you look at, I think about 75% at least are now totally done electronically. So that is, I think, a good message for the industry to realize that people are now embracing it and accepting it. Because I think the CIC, or not only CIC, the Port of Colombo and the trade, I think the only way forward is to go paperless. I think about, it would have been about 3 or 4 years ago, actually, CICT launched this mobile app to allow our trade or our exporters and importers to download the app and actually go online and track and trace their containers, check their demurrage, and basically handle their own platform. So this is only a stepping stone in the right direction. But this is only the first phase. I think rightfully, like Upali said, these are all scanned documents. And I think that's where we need to now look at another process where we can have a more secure and maybe scanned documents won't be needed eventually. Currently, CICT is working on a platform where we will have a more personalized, secure login portal, where you will have your own personal portal where you can put all your documents in, and it will be a more personalized service. That will be launched very soon. We are just in the testing phase of that as well. So yeah, that's about it from my side. If there is anything more, Dinesh, I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, Katyana. I think we will come back to you during the Q&A session. Probably there are many questions, I think, regarding the times, the windows, etc. are being sent by the trade. So we will try and take as much as possible. It's actually good that you are very strongly focused on paperless. Like I said, that's the way to go. And we have no way that we can do our traditional manual operations going forward. So yeah, all of us have to remember that strong message. Paperless is the way forward, and we will work towards it as a team. Thank you very much, Katyana. Then I will come back to you. Yeah, thank you. Okay. Now I will move to Mr. Ted Muttaya. Thank you very much for coming on screen. Chief Commercial Officer, South Asian Gateway Terminal. See, Ted, I know you are always into the automations, the new ways of working. You are look for simplification all the time because terminals have to move with advanced technology all the time. You can't operate with vessels in manually, technically, these are the old ways of working. So new ways of working is a given to ships and terminals. So with this opportunity, actually, although it is a very bad situation to face as a pandemic, but of course, like Katyana said, there's a silver line in all these things. So taking from there, I'm sure you also would have operationally achieved efficiencies and benefits out of this move. And what is your experience from the terminal point of view, and what are your future plans? We would like to hear from you. Over to you.
Thank you, Dinesh. Greetings to my fellow panel members. And I see there's close to about 200 who have signed on and logged on. So thank you very much. And thank you to also the Chamber of Commerce for the invitation. Speaking in regards to SAGT's experience with the transition to EDA, it was a logical and reasonably seamless process. To start with, SAGT has been ready for this transition for several years now. We have been receiving via EDI the Sri Lanka customs clearance from their Asakuda system for many years. We have been receiving the shipping line master delivery order via EDI again with a specific shipping line also for several years. We had already begun trials with a bank last year to receive payment confirmations directly into our Oracle finance systems. For a terminal, these are significant milestones in digitalizing the end-to-end import container clearing process. Beginning with receiving the shipping line master DO to SAGT issuing the electronic delivery advice. That is our aspiration. So much credit to the Honorable Minister Johnston Fernando for his directive to trade and industry to establish clearance protocols in support of the need for social distancing. Once this clear instruction was issued, under the leadership of the Chairman SLPA, the relevant stakeholders collaborated very closely to operationalize the EDA process we have today. Whilst all stakeholders played their part, I wish to single out the clearing and handling agent, the CHA community, for their ready support and cooperation. It was this group that needed to adapt to a drastically, although logically, a new way of doing their business. Thanks to their constructive engagement with us, the SAGT Dock Center, which under normal manual systems would see close to 1,000 people mingle around the dock center each day, had successfully embraced this new normal. And within 7 to 10 days, the SAGT Dock Center didn't have a single customer physically attending the premises for collection of EDA. Now, this was possible. My colleagues from the SAGT team had gone out to the YMBA building, to Lotus Road, talking and engaging the various communication centers that the CHAs were using. So it was not just only engaging the CHAs, but also looking at other stakeholders that perhaps would not normally be on the radar when we're talking about CHA and import clearing processes. So these were all building blocks that went in to where we find ourselves today with a seamless operation of digitized documentation. Now, looking ahead, the current EDA process, processes are mainly digitized versions on email. That is to say that the manual documents are simply converted to electronic form and mailed to the various parties. Our future aspirational state is to digitalize the existing process. That is to say that each of the stakeholders' applications must communicate electronically, EDI, electronic data interchange, so that the existing information already in electronic form can be transferred between stakeholder applications. So in this aspirational state, it is expected that there will be no need for printing and scanning as we do in the current digitized processes. For example, we will receive the shipping line master delivery order from all shipping lines via EDI, not email. We will continue to receive the customs clearance on EDI as we do today. We will receive the CHA payment confirmation for any terminal storage from the bank directly into our Oracle platform. All of this will tick SAGT's delivery advice application, from which the EDA will be generated also via EDA to the CHA. So the next stage for SAGT is to invite clearing and handling agents, or customs house agents as they were originally known when I started in the industry way back in 1982, to now register on the SAGT website application. And we expect this application for CHA registrations to be ready in the week ahead. I'm confident that given these early successes and the international trade community's realization of the time and resource savings through the efficiencies of e-commerce, our aspirational state of digitalization is a win-win for all stakeholders. I trust I've responded to all your questions, Dinesh.
Yes, Ted. Actually, it's actually very precise. Message is very clear, and how you all have analyzed it, and looking at the future, and especially handling the current pandemic situation is actually commendable. All three terminals together, I think all of us work together, and you all understood the constraints of all parties, and it was not only your terminal or another one, only their terminal. No, it was a collective approach, I guess, and that is why I think port functioned very well. It was a very friendly approach, and also the ultimate goal was to keep the industry moving. I know there were lots of hurdles at the outset, especially at the initial stages, but of course, I mean, no one expected this kind of a situation in the country, and it's a global pandemic. So I think Sri Lanka has come out very well, but still there are gaps to be, fixed. And I think I'm sure with all our vision together, we should be able to close all the gaps going forward. So thank you very much, Ted. And whatever the questions coming up at the Q&A session, we will refer to you as appropriate. So thank you very much for your clear and very precise message towards the trade. Thank you, Ted.
Pleasure, Dinesh. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you. So moving on, I will now request Delano Dias, Chairman, Import Section, Ceylon Chamber of Commerce. Delano, can you come on? Okay, great. You have been giving a patient hearing, I guess, for all the previous speakers, and keeping your share of thoughts to deliver. So I think now you are representing the consignees, the importers in the country. So how do you feel that they welcome this initiative? That's the first question that I would like to ask. Then, what do you think the capability and the infrastructure that the importers have to handle the documentation electronically? I mean, we have seen from the previous speakers that trade, some part of the trade is not ready, or there are gaps, understanding gaps, or they expect what is not available or what is given at the initial stages. So all those things end up with you in your quarters as the chairman import section. So there's surely there is a cost benefit moment you do simplification, automation, then online operation. There's a significant cost saving for the trade. So is this all that we have expected, or do we have further expectations? And what is your, I know the question is a little bit long, what is the message to the industry? Over to you, Delano.
Good morning. Thank you, Dinesh. I will go on answering that in the same order or differently. But let me start as the importer representative of the importer community. That this was a significant milestone, and we as promoters of single window initiative over a few years now, we have seen this implementation in different borderline agencies, and we are not very happy about the level of implementation in some institutions, because most of the time the implementation was ad hoc and incomplete, and not delivering the required support. So although the Sri Lanka Customs initiated it and tried to connect so many institutions under this initiative, uh, particularly on government institutions, uh, we saw this connection or the EDO and the e-delivery order implementation with the private sector happening very smoothly and efficiently, and in a very timely manner. So that is actually to our satisfaction, and it is something that we really look forward to, and naturally we welcome this initiative. And although it happened quite unexpectedly with the COVID, we could see that the terminal operators and the shipping lines were somewhat ready. Otherwise, it would not have come this at this pace. So it really impressed us. So we really appreciate the initiative, and I will fail in my responsibility if I do not recognize the initiative by the Honorable Minister and the Sri Lanka, the ministry officials at the height of this problem, together with Customs and SLPA, in getting this initiated. I think if not for that direction, in a timely manner, there would have been a major disaster at the Sri Lanka at the port with huge congestion. So we are really thankful for doing that leadership role, and seeing that it is implemented with the terminal operators. And we as importer community really thank for all those who are involved in this initiative. As it started quickly and the importers responded quite unexpectedly, we are still in the learning stage, but I believe we have not faced any major issues when dealing with mainline operators, even with the terminal operators. Still too premature, and I presume from what we have seen, the way forward is clear, that we can expect people and the importers to be benefited, which will be by way of efficiencies as well as cost savings, and of course getting a step closer to the international operations in a paperless manner. So that is our vision and expectation. Yes, there are a few concerns at our end, because although we represent the importers, all are not equal. There are small time operators. Then for all the major importers, this initiative was a blessing, and they could immediately move in there and get the benefits. But we have to see, as a representative of importers, that the benefits as well as the ease of operation be extended to the small and medium scale importers. So there we need a lot of assistance from shipping lines as well as the terminal operators in their processes, to ensure that there's a lot of education and guidance made available, so that they will all join in and experience and share the benefits. So that's an area that we look at it. As Ted mentioned, we are quite impressed with the terminal operators and the systems that they have in place. there's a lot of operational ease provided. But I believe there are a few things that we expect as the importers themselves get ready with the structure that is being made available. As Ted mentioned, that we have to move away from the email based things and printout scanning and all that. So there's a lot to be done. As users, as importers, we also have to do a lot of things. At the same time, we have to get the banking system in place. There we have to get the electronic notifications, payment confirmations, etc., which takes a lot of time right now at the moment. That is a concern because people have to wait till those confirmations are obtained and received. So we see a need for the terminal operators as well as the shipping agents to work closely with the banks and see that prompt and immediate confirmations are obtained, so that the people should not be in queues waiting for responses. And other thing is that we see that the current situation, a lot of people send in through email to the respective agencies and wait, and they're impatient, they keep calling and troubling. So I believe there has to be a system so that the importers as well as the clearing agents will have transparency and visibility of what is happening and what is making it late. Or so you have to look at that aspect so that response time becomes quicker. And we would like to see that, particularly when it comes to the terminal operators, we see a slight difference in the way operations, although the structures are same, the way the response time, etc., is noted. So there are some operators, as Ted mentioned, you see, they have better practices. We want all that best practices identified and shared so that everybody, all the terminal operators, give the same quality service. I mean, that's easily attainable. And finally, we want CASA and the terminal operators to join hands and share their experience and speak from their point of view, so that
Delano, we lost you. Your connection broke down. There's a breakdown in your connection. Delano, we lost you. Delano? Can the others hear me, please? Control center,
Yep.
chamber?
We can hear you.
Okay. So I think there's a technical problem with the speaker. I guess the line.
Dinesh, can
Sorry.
we start with the next speaker? I'll check with Delano.
Okay. Check with him offline. Okay, thank you very much. We will contact Delano Import Section, Ceylon Chamber of Commerce, for his any clarifications going forward. In the meantime, I will move on, and now I will request Mr. Uwais Samsudin, commonly known as Sam. I will call him Sam. Sam, can you come on video? Okay, great. Right. So a long-standing friend and a very important element, a critical part of our supply chain. We fully understand your association. It's a one of the most difficult operations that you do under extreme difficult conditions. So having wealth of knowledge in these operational areas, how have you seen? Manori, we can keep your mic mute, please. Sam, with all your wealth of experience, you have seen the previous decades efforts done by institutions, from private sector on automation, trying to establish single windows, etc. But with this COVID situation, sudden implementations have come in. Maybe the parties were working on this on those initiatives from a long time, but of course the implementation was very, very fast. So it's an advantage for all of us. So how have you advised your members, and how have you got adjusted for this initiative short time? And then have you evaluated? I would very specifically want to find out from you, how have you evaluated the whole system, the time taken, and the clear responses coming from these institutions, and the payment challenges. When you make a payment, how fast do you get the responses for those payments, or there are gaps for improvement? So I think you may have a lot to say apart from what I have asked. So over to you, Sam. Give us a very clear operational view for this on this initiative. Thank you very much. Over to you.
Thank you, Dinesh, and thank the Chamber for giving this opportunity, and a warm welcome to all, and my colleagues who are in the panel. Greetings to you, all of you. And as usual, Dinesh, you have taken me last, and you asked me to bet and get a 6 or get out. That is how it works in our trade. The clearing agents are the ones who always get that.
Yeah, I have said it. Go ahead.
With the last spot, and if I may just deviate from my from the subject point, I would like to just let you give you a brief description of our fundamental role as one of the main links in the supply chain in the shipping trade. Association of Clearing and Forwarding Agents, better known as ACFA, is a member-owned institution founded in 1985 and running effectively and vibrantly for the past 35 years. In most of the countries, customs house agents are recognized as authorized economic operators, as we are one of the main indirect revenue collectors for the economy of the country. Unfortunately, in the Asian region, even the customs house agents are referred as wharf clerks. And I think it is time that the term wharf clerks should be rephrased as wharf representatives, as it is a professional job and not a clerk's job anymore. As we gradually started to open commercial activities, the immediate consequences of COVID-19 are becoming clear. We are witnessing record unemployment rates globally, a continual drop in its economic output, and steep decline in global trade. Policymakers, business leaders, and individuals everywhere around the world asking the same question: what can we do to recover from the historic pandemic? My take is that we have spoken enough about the way forward. And I think it's time for us to focus on the path forward, which I believe the shipping trade in Sri Lanka is in the right direction now. This outbreak of COVID-19 has two sides, the good and the bad. The good is that globally, it has helped to get rid of the unhealthy atmosphere and brought in new dimensions to everybody's life. And in our trade, the stakeholders have held hands together to resolve major issues during this time, which we never witnessed during tsunami. The classic example is that we were represented at each and every meeting, from the Prime Minister's office to chambers, where we were able to drive efficiency in many areas to ease the bottlenecks. And one of the best outcome is the customs paperless process, which is a huge win for the trading community in terms of cost and time. Well, I must also place on record that we have been lobbying from 2015 to implement the customs paperless process, and it's a reality now, thanks to the present DGC for his directions. I must also confess that our WAF representatives were the most vulnerable during this period of the pandemic, COVID-19, in this industry, as they had no option but to stand in long queues, be it the bank, shipping lines, terminals, and you name it. They had to face this tough time courageously, not being able to maintain social distancing too. Thank God, to date, not a single CHA or WAF representative was infected with the virus. The online system and e-clearance adopted by the trade under the guidance and leadership of Honorable Minister of Ports and Shipping, Honorable Johnson Fernando, Minister Secretaries, SLPA Chairman, General Ratnakar, Director General of Customs, retired Major General Vijita Ravipriya, and not forgetting ADGC Mr. Sunil Jaratna and all officers of Customs and SLPA, along with the trade, has really taken this task to work with the rules laid down by the Health Ministry, maintaining social distance. Basically, with this e-clearance, it has eliminated not only social distancing but human contact totally. It was a huge task to get the industry to change overnight from the normally practice of going to the shipping lines doorstep to collect the delivery order or getting the gate pass from the terminals. Today, we can proudly say that the three terminals, SLPA, SAGT, and CICT, have done a remarkable and a fantastic service to turnaround within a short period of time. Earlier, it took over 4 to 5 hours for them to issue a gate pass, but now it takes only around 1 hour. Well, we trust they will improve and give us the gate pass in 10 minutes. After all, the payments are transferred within seconds of a press of a button from our account to theirs, and documents processed within 10 minutes from our officers. Some of the shipping lines and NVOCCs are still not geared to keep pace with the fast-moving e-commerce yet. They take around 2 hours, which we believe CASA will address them. Most of the importers and exporters have been addressed of the e-clearance and the path forward and geared to take up the challenges. Even the photocopies of payment receipts are accepted by them now. Some of them are still not ready to move out from the traditional original receipts. And they demand the original receipts, which we are still trying to educate them on that. All in all, we are very appreciative that the WAF representatives don't have to get exposed too much during this pandemic COVID-19 anymore. And not forgetting that we have to maintain this for a long period of time. But there is a fear factor demonstrated amongst the WAF representatives that they will lose their jobs because of the e-commerce adopted, and they preferred the old style of visiting the counters of the shipping agents and so on. But they have failed to understand the huge savings on time and cost. Most importantly, the safety of their health. With the initiative of the DGC, a workshop was conducted recently at Customs Auditorium on the paperless system, the operatives, and the online processors of the banks and terminals. And also, I must tell you that ACFA is planning to have a series of such workshops to educate the fraternity, as many other institutions such as SLSI, import control, and others falling in line with the new systems gradually. Our target is to get the online customs paperless system processed prior to the arrival of the vessels with copies emailed by the shipper, so that we could manage the time efficiently and process other licenses before the arrival of the vessels, which will help the trade in cost reduction drastically and the benefit shared with the final customer. I wish to thank all the stakeholders for standing under one banner for trade facilitation, and I may fail in my duties if I don't thank the Minister of Ports and Shipping, DG Customs, the SLPA Chairman, and all officers and the stakeholders who work tirelessly to facilitate the new normal trade support. Dinesh, I think I have summed up with all what I have to say with your questions.
Yes,
And
yes. Thanks, Sam. Thank you very much. What would you like to say to your association people? How fast can should they get adjusted to the new current system and the future new ways of working?
yeah, Dinesh, for your information, for the past 3 weeks, I was lucky to get. I was only serving our members earlier, which is a small amount, but now I have got the email addresses and telephone numbers of 2,500 CHAs, and I have been sending all the messages required for them to adapt to the new methods. And I can see that most of them have responded very well. And I must also take this opportunity to thank the 3 terminals, because they was very strict on on their way of handling this, and stating, okay, from this date, no way will they accept the what do you call these at the counters. And Dinesh, I just have one slide I just want to share with you. I'm sure the terminals may not like to see this, but oops, terminals may not like to see this, but let me see if I can get it. Yeah, Dinesh.
Yeah,
I want to. This was immediately after COVID. You could see there was no social distancing whatsoever. But now you can see post e-container clearance how it is. So I think a big round of applause to the 3 terminals for the fantastic efforts taken to see that it is you know um, been quickly responded to
correct.
with this social distancing.
Correct.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, sure. I think the situation was chaos at the initial stages. Obviously, people didn't know what to do. There were essential and non-essential barriers. Then curfew passes. Curfew was becoming more and more intense. And then, all the trade didn't have sales. Various things were there, and everyone was panicked. Yes, correct. Now things are settling down. But of course, finally, the importers have the large amount of problems still left with them due to some gazette notifications, restrictions, and their sales, and then getting payments, etc. So it is not the this is not the forum for that. But anyway, yeah, we got to adjust. We got to manage. This is the time that I think, from importers' point of view, trade point of view, we'll have to display that outstanding capability of survival. Okay, Sam, thank you very much. I will refer some of the questions that I'm getting to you as appropriate. First question, I am referring to Anoma. Anoma, there is a question to ask that the EDO will the EDO be accepted by the yard depot operators when they are when the consignees are returning the empty containers? Can you give some comments there?
Yes.
And also, 1 minute. Also, one more thing I will say: car carriers are asking whether the shipping lines issue EDOs for them as well. If you can cover those 2 points, thank you.
Yes. Now, with regard to the depot operators, the arrangement will depend on the respective lines. So if the respective shipping line has made arrangements with the depot operator to accept the EDO, then it's fine. Whereas, in my opinion, most of the shipping agents expect the customer or whoever who's returning the containers to submit the FCL form to the depot operator. So that's the plan, because so it all depends on the arrangement made between the shipping agent and the depot operator.
Okay, okay. Then the other one about the car importers.
Car importers, well, I may have to check on that. I think there is no issue at all for the vehicle importers to issue EDO, provided they are ready. To issue EDOs. So I don't think, and I think HIPG also has given the proper instructions, which I saw lately. And if the agents are ready, they should be able to issue the EDO for car
Yeah,
carriers.
actually, yeah. Maybe Anoma, this question has a customs part as well. So because there are no customs officers in this panel, I will not forward that. So okay, as far as the lines are concerned, you don't see a major problem of issuing EDO. And then the person who sent the question says, in this case, Department of Motor Traffic document submission, can the requirement be fulfilled with a special document released by SLS, Sri Lanka Customs, I guess, as a government institution? So there's two parts to it. So as far as
Yes,
lines are concerned, okay, right.
I'm not qualified to answer that because it's the customs requirement. So
Okay.
maybe, yes, customs could handle that and give the answer for that.
Right. Okay. Okay. Now, next one I will refer to Ted. Thank you, Anoma. Ted, for you. Currently, only the mainline DOs are accepted by the terminals. What would be the process for forwarded DOs? This is still not clear. Can you shed some light there?
Sure. I think I already responded to that on the chat. But to reconfirm, the mainline DO is the primary source of release by the shipping line, who has a contract with the terminal, instructing us to release that container. So we receive that first from the shipping line. Thereafter, whoever is requesting the EDA, the Terminal Electronic Delivery Advice, can present their DO, but it would need to have the sequence of events from that mainline DO showing that they are the authorized party to pick up the EDA. I trust that explains.
That's fine. That's fine. Thank you. I think I will share something. Although we have responded on chat. Thank you, Ted. Okay. Again, I'm going back to Anoma. Can't the customer hand over the original bill of lading or shipping guarantee in advance as soon as available, and then receive the EDO upon arrival of vessel? I guess that is possible.
Yes, I don't see a problem in that, and it will all again depend on the acceptance of each shipping agent. But all in all, I don't see a problem of that, accepting the documents, keeping it until the vessel arrival, and then ensure the the relevant payments are done, and then issue the EDO. So it would not be a problem. So that practice would depend on the shipping agent.
Okay, thank you very much. Uh, okay, another question. Though EDO is being in use, it is still unclear whether the ultimate consignee can use the EDO for clearance. As we found out, only lines have issued to co-loaders and the co-loaders have issued to forwarders. We didn't find any forwarder who is issued the EDO to the ultimate consignee. Please clarify whether this is possible. I think that again, Anoma, you might be the best person to answer.
Yes, Dinesh, because now we always refer to the master delivery order and we are responsible for the master delivery order. So down the line, going from one forwarder to another, it's the freight forwarders action. So I believe if the freight forwarders are ready, some of these freight forwarders may be issuing EDOs, and who are not ready may be issuing manual delivery orders to their ultimate consignees. So that could be the reason. I think it should be taken up with the Freight Forwarders Association, who is responsible for the actions of these freight forwarders.
Okay, thank you. This goes to Catriona. I'm not sure whether we responded on chat. One participant wants to know, is this going to be a temporary measure or will be a new way of handling imports? Further, we can do away with the reporting of hard copies of manifests to both port terminals as well as to customs. Customs part, we will leave it alone. This will reduce unnecessary, etc. So technically, the question is around whether this is going to be temporary or permanent for you.
Yeah, thanks, Dinesh. Yeah, definitely it's not temporary. Like I said when I was speaking earlier, this is the way forward and there is no way to turn back. We need to now use this as a stepping stone and build on this. That's why I said I think all the terminals are working on a more personalized portal to make this more efficient and to actually improve on this. This was done in haste. So definitely it's permanent.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Katrina. Upali, this is for you. According to them, they have repeatedly reported there is no payment after normal working hours. If there are exceptions requiring after hours, attention is done. Attention is done with permanent OT, permanent payment of OT. Happy if we can look into this. So I think this is about the working hours with the SLPF finance. I guess you would have seen this question, not very clear, but how have you, how do you accept the payments outside working hours? Do you have the importers got to pay overtime, etc. is the question.
Yeah, it's a very good question, Dinesh. If you could remember, in fact, that was during the previous government, so we started 365 days, 24 hours service. Can you remember? So, but we wanted to change the culture, but still, all were not in the. That's why it didn't make it a reality, because now, though banks were open, though our offices were open, no customers were there. That's why we were a bit demoralized at the very beginning. Now, of course, under this COVID-19 situation, we have to rethink about the situation. But in fact, with Port Authority, we always tried, even the last Vesak Moon Day, if you remember, so we convinced the banks and kept open, but only thing that unfortunately that there was a miscommunication because of that. And only 12 deliveries were done that time. So, but as far as banks concerned, we tried to convince them. At the moment, of course, they work till 6 p.m. But in future, so depending on the requirements, so and also the other thing is that we have to jointly, find solution for this, because no point in having the staff stand by, maybe banks, maybe terminal offices, if you do not customers to. So that is the most important thing. So we have to get together and change this culture to make it a reality, to have 365 days, 24/7 service.
Thank you, Upali. Thank you. We can see one of the participants, I think Ms. Amali, is comfortably listening to us. Your video is on. Okay, so that's fine. I think overall, with this session, there were lots of thought that was shared by the three terminals and the shipping lines, CASA, and I think largely the adapting to this situation is in consignees and this clearing and forwarding agents. It's coming to our area technically. I think we have to fully focus on the opportunities that we have got, driving on those. If there are gaps, I'm more than sure the participants, the consignees, importers, CHAs can write directly to their associations. Ceylon Chamber of Commerce will be always there to help, appear on behalf, or if there are clarifications to do that, it will be our pleasure. So it is in all areas in our supply chain, Chamber takes the lead role, and also individual associations take their respective roles. And I think what we want to request from a webinar like this, what do you take away? Those who have listened, there's a large number of participants, which shows itself that there's a lot of interest towards the automation going forward, new ways of working. Actually, the corona pandemic has really taught us a different ways of working, different thinking. And sometimes you have fallen into the situation where you have no other option but to do it. So all are giving us new experiences. I think we have listened to the terminals, SLPA chairman, SLPA additional managing director. I think everyone is willing to support the trade, no doubt about it. And like Sam mentioned, because within our scope, Sri Lanka Customs wasn't there, but of course, it's another one of the most important institutions who have been tirelessly, must repeat it, tirelessly supporting the trade during especially the pandemic situation, and also we know in the past how they have supported, and in future how they are going to support. So no doubt about it. I think we as the trade, although we are having a lot of challenges, issues, so many things, but still we also should be determined to take these opportunities forward, escalating when you have issues. Without if you don't bring those issues out, there won't be solutions coming out. So I think having that note and having that thought, I'm so thankful for all the participants who have come, and I guess very many questions that you sent was addressed on the chat box. And in case if you have not got a reasonable answer, you can refer them to the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce, surely, and we will give you the most best answer that we can give. But don't get disappointed in case if your questions were not answered, or if you have not got the real expectation from the speakers. Don't worry, this is not the end of the road. Refer all those things to the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce or to your respective associations, so that those association officials will surely give you the best opportunity. But in case if there are still challenges, I think we are more than sure that we can iron out all those things going forward. So with that note, thank you very much again for all the participants, and I will hand this over to Amanda, the Chamber.
Thank you, Dinesh. Thank you very much for taking over this discussion. And on behalf of the Chamber, let me once again thank our moderators, Dinesh De Silva, for your time, as well as for all the speakers in today's discussion. We wish to also thank our sponsor, Citibank, for making this discussion possible today. However, we see questions still coming in into our chat box. We will try to make sure that we respond to questions as many as possible. But if you do have any more questions or suggestions, please send them across to the email address manori@chamber.lk. We will make sure that we respond to you as soon as possible. Thank you again for tuning into this webinar, and thank you again to all our speakers and panelists today. Thank you very much for your time and commitment. Thank you very much.
Okay, bye everyone.
Thank you.